Hello and welcome to Valuechain News. I am Naomi Oleribe. First, the headlines. NNPC orders set to commence exploration in Akwa Ibom. Sylvia frowns at delay in completion of NUPRC headquarters. Lack of equipment is affecting our fight against crude oil theft, customs. And now, the news in detail. The Nigeria National Petroleum Company (NNPC), through its upstream subsidiary, the National Petroleum Development Company (NPDC), and National Oilfield Services Limited (NOSL), an indigenous operator, have finalized plans to commence exploration of the oil mining lease OML 13 in Akwa Ibom State. In a statement yesterday, the partners disclosed that the first oil from the asset is expected to be achieved by the end of 2022. OML 13 is a large block in Akwa Ibom State and is reported to hold in place volumes of over 900 million barrels of oil and 5 trillion cubic of gas. The exploration is coming nearly 3 years after the signing of the financing and technical services agreement between NNPC and Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company, also known as SIPCO, for the development of OML 13. The agreement with SIPCO, according to the Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malamele Kyari, was for a period of 15 years, while the $3.15 billion ceiling funding will be provided by SIPCO with a 10-year capital investment period and 5 years for cost recovery. Kyari had explained then that the deal was intended to boost the nation's crude oil reserves and daily oil production to 3 million barrels per day. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Timipre Silva yesterday frowned at the slow pace of the completion of the headquarters of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC), insisting it is sacrosanct for President Muhammadu Buhari to commission the project before leaving office in 2023. It will be recalled that because of the ongoing reforms in the oil and gas sector, the headquarters of the defunct Department of Petroleum Resources was relocated to Abuja to facilitate processes in the sector. Speaking while inspecting the project in Abuja, Silva lamented that the project was only 26% completed, despite the fact that the end of the current administration was in sight. He said the contractors told the Federal Executive Council (FEC) in 2020 that the project will be completed in 24 months, but the current state of the project remains slow, adding that the safe working environments remained crucial as the government was working hard to reform the industry. The Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) yesterday said it was limited in the battle against crude oil theft due to lack of equipment. According to the NCS Public Relations Officer Timi Bomodi, the criminal activities takes place in the deep waters that are several nautical miles away from land, disclosing that the operatives of the service are better equipped to man activities in shallow waters. Speaking with our correspondent in his office at the NCS headquarters in Abuja, Bomodi said although the service has patrol boats for the creeks, the responsibility is beyond the operatives of NCS. He believes the Navy is better equipped to combat crude oil theft. The European Union (EU) has urged Nigeria to take advantage of the opportunity offered by the present crisis in Europe to shore up gas supplies to it. The appeal for Nigeria's intervention was made by Ambassador Samuela Isopi during a courtesy call by EU ambassadors to Minister of State for Petroleum Resources Chief Temitope Silva last week in Abuja. She appealed to Nigeria to step into that gas supply chain as an alternative to Russia, adding that the country must not allow the opportunity to pass it by, while reflecting on the security situation in the Niger Delta that drastically impacted on gas supply in the last few years. Isopi urged the Nigerian government to step up security in the region to guarantee gas supply to EU member states. OPEC Secretary General His Excellency Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo was yesterday named a Distinguished Fellow of the Atlantic Council in recognition of his outstanding achievements as Secretary General of the organization and contributions to the global energy community. Barkindo received this honor during a dinner hosted as part of the Global Energy Forum by the Atlantic Council in Dubai, UAE. In his acceptance speech, the Secretary General said serving as Secretary General of OPEC has been an honor of a lifetime. Barkindo emphasized that he has witnessed both challenging and historic moments over the last 6 years, which have underscored time and again the importance of cooperation and teamwork. He also stressed that none of the achievements would have been possible without the tireless efforts of the OPEC Secretariat staff members who demonstrated their dedication and professionalism. Barkindo will become a distinguished fellow of the Council after he completes his second successful term as OPEC Secretary General on 1st August 2022. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has urged Nigeria and other developing countries to explore the revenue potentials of personal income tax. This was revealed in a new IMF study that looked into the possibility of expanding the use of fiscal instruments in developing countries where many people live on low wages. According to the IMF, many governments seeking long-term economic recovery from the pandemic must raise considerable sums of money in the most equitable manner possible. An official of the fund remarked low-income developing countries that improved their tax to GDP ratios relied on a broader set of tax instruments and not exclusively on the PTI, suggesting that a successful revenue mobilization strategy of developing countries requires a comprehensive approach covering a wider range of taxes. Although progress has been made by some emerging economies, the Washington-based lender says there is room for improvements. Before we end the news, here's a recap of our headlines. NNPC orders set to commence exploration in Akwa Ibom. Silva frowns at delay in completion of NUPRC headquarters. Lack of equipment is affecting our fight against crude oil theft. Customs. And that's the news. I am Naomi Oleribe. Good evening.